Good versus Evil, Heaven and Hell, Round 2. And this time, it's personal. Today's Dungeons & Dragons Death Match pits two of the most capable and fearsome adversaries from their respective theological domains. It's a top-tier battle, Solar Angel Archon versus Pit Fiend General, to the death. Choose your champion, right now, on Riches and Liches. Welcome, adventurers, I'm Rich, and this is Riches and Liches, where it's all things Dungeons & Dragons and tabletop role-playing. We meet again for another epic Dungeons & Dragons death match. Today, it's Good versus Evil, Round 2. If you're new to the series, here in the arena known as the Nexus Oblivion, we scan the multiverse to summon the Dungeons & Dragons creatures you love and hate, the matchups you want to see, in full 1v1 fights to the death, all controlled by a mysterious group of deities and a combat simulator known as the Council of Apterion. In most instances, these summoned champions cannot resist the call to battle, but today is a little different. If you've not watched our first video where the angelic Deva and horned devil face off, spoilers are ahead, and I would strongly recommend you watch that video first. I've linked it down below. Additionally, one of our combatants today, Venator the Solar Angel, has already had a full lore video produced. If you'd like to learn more about him before today's battle or after, it too is linked below. Or if you prefer the easy path and don't care about spoilers, just watch until the end of this video. I will have end cards there taking you straight to those respective videos. Okay, with that spoiler warning out of the... Wait, hold on a second. What's going on here? Venator has entered the arena early. Hey, we've not done the introductions yet. Oh, okay, it looks like Venator is not one for protocol, and I'm not one to try and stop him. He appears to be preparing to speak.
I, Venator, Lord Archon of Justice, arrive at this Nexus, not of a compelled summoning, but of free will. Here I stand, resolute. I deliver a message of vengeance and justice in the face of the infernal darkness, and with a voice that thunders through the skies. Hear me now, architect of suffering and torment. Come, take me as your trophy, you wretched spawn of all that is profane and unholy. I summon thee to this forsaken battlefield. Face me as my vengeance unfolds beneath this moonless sky, pierced only by the cold, unforgiving light of the stars and the wails of your suffering. In the name of my celestial brother Gavriel, come, pay the price for your dishonor, as I descend upon thee with the radiant might of 1,000 suns and the divine fury of my blade, its edge honed by the righteous will of the heavens. I issue my challenge to the foul and dishonorable coward Avazul. You will find no quick death here today. My message will be delivered slowly. Such an eloquent and passionate speech, far too powerful for such an unworthy servant of your gods. You must be most disappointed. And now you come to this arena, Venator, a vaunted and honored Solar Archon of Justice, to exact retribution from a mere soldier? Have the heavenly legions grown soft on such easy prey? Avazul is my charge. He claimed his victory and his trophy, and you nor any of your mild-tempered ilk shall take what he rightfully earned. I am Atraxamon, Lord of the Batazu, General of the Archduke Eurysgriel, and it is I that hear your challenge, Venator. Your celestial bravado echoes through the Stygian corridors. It awakens the primal hunger within my own twisted soul. And it is my infernal blade that shall emerge from your divine light, my sinister rage wreathed in the flames of perdition, my form cleansed in the pit of flames. I accept your challenge, O great Solar of Retribution, O Archon of great justice. I am eager to taste the sweet nectar of your celestial blood. Prepare yourself, Venator, for the shadows and fire are my domain, and I shall not yield. Come, Deliver your message from your knees as you fall before me. Take your rightful place alongside Gavriel. Such a fine trophy you shall make.
Well, that's certainly not how we normally do things around here, but okay, the show must go on. Now that you've informally met these adversaries, where was I? Okay. In today's matchup, we have two of the most capable and fearsome adversaries from their respective domains. And as you can tell from those impromptu challenges, these two, no love lost, and they are obviously eager to settle the score. Two titans of heaven and hell. They do not get much bigger than this. Who is your chosen champion? We'll get to the tail of the tape in a moment, but first, a brief rundown of the ground rules for those new to the series. Each battle has been simulated exactly 100 times with a combat simulator, and I will share the relevant victory percentages that determined our final outcome at the end of the video. I did receive a few comments and emails regarding more stats in the combat summary, so today we will also add the average battle length and relative damage outputs in that summary. All lower CR combatants have been scaled as slightly more powerful champions of their respective type where appropriate in an effort to keep the fight as fair as possible. All battles are 1v1 and with the use of any special abilities, including legendary actions, they may possess. And finally, don't take this too seriously. This is not scientific in any sense of the word. It's strictly a fun way to tell a story. However, I did receive a few comments that I wanted to address for the wider audience regarding the use of terrain and tactics. No, the combat sim does not take terrain into account, and I don't think any of the current crop of combat sims would be nearly as good at tactics as a human player might be. But from a story arc perspective, the arena is actually designed to not give an advantage to the one opponent that might be quicker to find cover or other terrain advantages. The Nexus of Oblivion is designed to determine the victor of two combatants 1v1 with only their given talents. Okay, with that out of the way, if you have a dream matchup you'd like to see, comment down below. Now, let's see how these two fearsome titans match up. In the realm beyond realms, the Nexus Oblivion hangs suspended in a tapestry of stardust and darkness. For millennia on, this battleground of champions has been a playground for the gods, a place where the fate of all things could be decided. The Council of Opterion, the shadowy group of secretive deities, gather again to bear witness to a confrontation of epic proportions. This battle between a solar celestial archon and a Pit Fiend General. Sharing nothing in common but a strong hatred for one another, a celestial solar and archon of justice, Venator, has traveled to the Nexus of Oblivion of his own free will, not summoned, and he is here to avenge the death of one of his angelic brothers in the fallen Gavriel. As you heard, Venator has issued a challenge to Gavriel's executioner, a horned devil named Avazul, but his challenge has instead been met by the Pit Fiend Lord whom Avazul serves, Atraxamon, the Tormentor, the Pit Fiend General. Let's take a look at the matchup. We will start our tale of the tape looking at Venator, the Solar Archon, a lawful good large celestial. He has the following stat block. Hit points 255, only slightly elevated from the 243 base solar stat block. But he has an armor class of 21, ground speed of 50 feet per round, and the ability to fly at 150 feet per round. Venator can make 2 great sword attacks per round, or alternatively, 1 attack with his slaying longbow. His resistances include bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons, damage immunities to necrotic and poison, and the conditions of charmed, exhausted, and frightened. Venator also has the following special abilities and actions. His angelic greatsword Solastar is magical and deals an additional 6d8 radiant damage with each hit that lands. He has the flying sword ability, which gives him the ability to command its movement or attacks. And Venator has innate charisma-based spellcasting that includes the spells Invisibility and Blade Barrier. He also has magic resistance and the healing touch ability. Finally, Venator has the following legendary actions: Teleport, Searing Burst, and Blinding Gaze. We will now look at Atraxamon, the Pit Fiend General. Those that were listening closely during his challenge acceptance would take notice at his reference to Stygia, the fifth of the 9 layers of hell, controlled by extreme cold and of course the Archduke Levistus. I mention this because, as your announcer and lore historian, I was surprised by this revelation. For those that are not aware, Pit Fiends are exceedingly rare on Stygia, normally preferring to serve in the more temperate environments. It is our understanding that Atraxamon is certainly an anomaly in a lair known far more for its ice devils than Pit Fiends, and we wonder now, for curiosity's sake, about the makeup of those forces he commands. In any event, the Pit Fiend champion brings forth the following stats for today's battle. Hit points of 330, that's a 10% increase over the normal stat block due to his champion level status, and a clear advantage over the Solar, but only an armor class of 19. Atraxamon has a ground movement speed of 30, and he can fly at 60 feet per round, far below the speed of the Solar, something we're going to want to watch as this battle unfolds. Atraxamon has resistances to cold, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical weapons that aren't silvered, and immunities to fire and poison damage, as well as the charmed and frightened conditions. I'm guessing Venator's exceptional charm while perhaps working on all the mere mortals, likely the ladies, but not so much on the general today. Atraxamon's special abilities and actions include a Fear Aura, which will be worthless against a Solar, as well as his Bite, Claw, Mace, and Tail attacks, of which he gets 4 total attacks per round, another advantage to the Devil. Atraxamon is also magic resistance. He too has innate charisma-based spellcasting, which allows at-will fireballs, and he can also create a wall of fire 3 times per day. Atraxamon does not, however, have any legendary actions. Quite the tale of the tape indeed. Let's look at how they match up and the keys to victory for each. For Venator, a speed and armor class advantage are clear, but less overall health and only 2 attacks per round as opposed to the Pit Fiend's 4 should weigh heavily in the Celestial Warrior's strategy today. The keys to victory for the Solar Angel: he must use that speed advantage and avoid trading blow for blow. He simply does not have the Devil's same level of health. Additionally, good use of his legendary actions and timely healing will be critical to the success of this battle. For Atraxamon, he has quite an advantage in terms of health, but that is somewhat offset by a lower armor class. He has another clear advantage though with his 4 attacks per round and his at-will fireballs. Weighing in on the keys for an Atraxamon victory, he'll need to determine how best to close ranks on the far quicker Angel, especially in this wide open arena, in order to take advantage of his superior volume of attacks. And I could not help but notice that in addition to his Infernal Mace, Atraxamon also has a normal looking whip as a secondary weapon. That's quite unusual for a Pit Fiend, but I'm not sure if there's any significance to it. Okay, the battle's about to begin. Choose your champion now in what promises to be a titanic battle of epic proportions and costs. With a divine flourish, Venator, the Archon of Justice, descends into the arena, his immense wings spread wide, shimmering in celestial light. As the embodiment of righteousness, Venator wields the power of the heavens, bringing justice to the wicked and smiting those who dare to defy the cosmic order. With feathers of purest white and gold and a pair of immense radiant wings, Venator is the very image of what is good in these worlds. He stands 10 feet tall and weighs in just under 600 pounds of lean muscle mass. The air crackles with the divine energy he emanates, a testament to his celestial might. In his hands, he holds a great sword, Solastar, forged in the heat of the sun itself, as well as a slaying longbow strung across his back, both able to deal lethal blows to its target and ready to avenge his fallen brethren, Gavriel. Next up, emerging from the shadows of the Nexus Oblivion, Atraxamon, the Pit Fiend Devil champion. He strides forward with an air of menace and confidence. His rippled, muscular form and red skin exude pure malice, and his eyes burn with a hatred that could consume entire worlds. In his clawed hand, he clutches an infernal mace, and on his hip, a wickedly barbed whip. Atraxamon stands over 12 feet tall and weighs in at just over 900 pounds. Venator may be in trouble if his speed advantage fails him. A being of pure and incomprehensible cruelty, Atraxamon revels in the suffering of others, delighting in the torment of innocent souls, or today, those of avenging angels. With leathery wings and skin the color of molten lava and blood, the Pit Fiend champion is indeed a monstrous sight to behold. The battle horn sounds as the two titans take flight, Atraxamon slightly delayed as he beckons Venator in a bid inviting the angel to engage in melee combat. An offer Venator, with just the slightest of smiles, declines. As the battle commences, the Council of Apterion watches from the shadows, their faces hidden beneath their dark, hooded robes. The air is thick with tension, the cosmic forces of good and evil converging to bear witness to the titanic struggle that is about to unfold. With the clear advantage of alacrity, Venator takes to the skies, his massive wings outstretched and his perfect form on display as he lets loose a divine arrow from his slaying longbow. The celestial projectile pierces through the air, homing in on Atraxamon with deadly accuracy and striking him in the dead center of the Pit Fiend's muscular chest. The Pit Fiend roars, perhaps in anger and frustration as much as in pain, as the radiant damage sears the devil's flesh. Atraxamon breaks off the divine arrow, grinning menacingly in the joy of pain, and immediately retaliates with a hellish fireball. Again, the angel's advantage in speed evident as he narrowly avoids most of the impact of the exploding hell flame, his divine aura absorbing any splash damage. The battle rages on. The two combatants trade ranged attacks, well-placed divine arrows from Venator, while Atraxamon throws at-will fireballs. The explosion of impacts, devilish roars, and angelic battle cries are deafening throughout the arena. But it's clear at this early stage that the angel intends to exploit his speed advantage. Atraxamon, frustrated, once again goads the angel to come close for a fight, but Venator, sensing the clear advantage he has gained, maintains his distance as he notches another celestial arrow. Once again, his aim is true as holy light surges forth, scorching Atraxamon's dark flesh. Luckily for the Pit Fiend, his health is high enough to not succumb to the potential instant kill these heavenly arrows can cause to the less robust foes. The Pit Fiend snarls, realizing he cannot continue to take such unanswered blows. He retaliates with yet another fiendish fireball, this one a glancing blow that explodes in infernal flames just above Venator, doing only minor damage. It was at this time that the Pit Fiend got his wish, as Venator, fueled by vengeance and confidence, charges into melee range, looking to finish the fight. The Solar's divine light clashed with the Pit Fiend's dark flames, a maelstrom of chaos and the divine swirling around the most unlikely of dance partners. As the fight wore on, the celestial and infernal forces began to wear down each other's stamina. Venator's wings now singed, his body bruised and battered, but not yet bloody, as he continued to fight with unwavering resolve. Atraxamon, on the other hand, seemingly surprised by the Solar's ability to meet the Pit Fiend's sheer melee power and strength, took as much as he gave, now riddled with cuts and slashes, all bleeding, thick black ichor. Yet the fires of hatred in his eyes kept the devil in the fight. Their battle raged on, this dance of divine and infernal powers continuing. Moments later, Venator used his blinding gaze upon the devil, the searing light disorienting Atraxamon in an effort to disengage and gain a small measure of separation. Atraxamon, blinded, flailed wildly as his whip lashed out, attempting to grapple Venator, but the Solar Angel deftly evaded the attack. It may be worth nothing to note, but I am surprised that Atraxamon's infernal whip did not have the well-known and typical fiery flames licking from its crackle in the air. Perhaps Atraxamon is dealing with some kind of loss to his infernal powers. I'm just not sure. Nonetheless, Venator, following the missed whip attack in a surprise move, re-engaged to melee range and, imbuing his greatsword with radiant energy, cast a searing burst upon the already blinded devil, the divine energy showering the Pit Fiend in radiant burns. Atraxamon cries out in pain and snarls as his sight returns, his maw snapping at the angel, perhaps not realizing Venator is immune to poison. Bewildered and missing his attacks, the devil was quickly losing ground in the battle as Venator's heavenly greatsword blows continued to bloody the faltering Pit Fiend. We may be looking at a beginning of the end. In the brief moments of respite, Venator felt a surge of celestial power as a healing touch mended some of his wounds, also bolstering his confidence. But just as the angel looked to disengage for another round of deadly bow attacks, the next of which may instantly bring this battle to an avenging end, Atraxamon began some infernal incantation, and then his eyes turned ice blue, and his skin from blood red to a chilled mix of blues, reds, and purples. At that very moment, Venator knew the significance of Atraxamon's dwelling in the cold depths of Stygia and attempted to create distance from this Stygian devil, but it was a moment too late, and the miscalculation was not without heavy cost. The Pit Fiend exhaled a blast of unimaginable cold upon the angel. Instantly, Venator's wings became iced over and immobile. His entire form froze, and he plummeted the 30 feet below, crashing to the arena floor. Atraxamon dove down toward the Celestial, who was attempting to rise from the shattered ice and recover his flight and advantage, but it was not to be. His powerful wings, now coated in thick, wintry ice, simply would not lift his muscular frame. Now, with the devil's own wounds mending through unholy regeneration, Atraxamon advanced with a sinister grin, looking to finish the fight. The Pit Fiend landed an attack with his whip, and instantly we learn why it was not covered in the typical fiendish flames. As the whip strikes the Solar's wings, a deadly chill radiates across the still recovering Solar's form, not only injuring the angel, but further limiting his ability to take flight. Venator, now on the defensive, uses all his divine might and skill to fend off the relentless, hate-fueled Pit Fiend attacks. In this battle of stamina and will, as despair threatened to consume him, time seemed to slow as Venator heard the whispers of his fallen brother Gavriel. The Deva's voice, a beacon of hope in this icy darkness, called upon him to hold fast, be strong, and vanquish the evil before him with righteous fury. With a renewed vigor, Venator halted the advance of Atraxamon. In mere moments, it was clear that the frenzied infernal attacks had sapped the Pit Fiend's strength, and that Venator had weathered the worst of the Pit Fiend attacks. Bloodied but fueled by this knowledge, the angel called upon the heavens once more. With a divine incantation, he summoned a blade barrier directly atop the fiendish general, a swirling vortex of celestial energy that tore into Atraxamon's dark form. The Pit Fiend roared in pain as the divine blades slashed at his flesh, the black blood deeply staining the arena floor. Venator, seizing upon the opportunity, his wings beginning to thaw, took to the air, albeit slowly. Atraxamon, weary from his onslaught and bloodied from the magical blades, attempted to give chase, but the Solar seemed to gain strength where the devil was faltering. It was at this time the Pit Fiend knew the speed advantage, if not mitigated soon, would be his undoing, well aware of what another 1 or 2 arrows from Venator's bow of slaying would do. The Council of Apterion, normally stoic in their silence, leaned forward, breathless at the intensity of the mighty struggle unfolding before them, and perhaps sensing the end. Atraxamon bellowed in rage. In an uncharacteristic and chaotic maneuver, more expected from a demon, Atraxamon, caring little for the rules of one-on-one combat and breaking from his evil but lawful alignment, summoned forth a chained devil to his side. The fiendish devil rushed to its master's aid, its infernal form descending upon Venator as a torrent of 4 razor-barbed chains extending over half of their 60-foot maximum range dug into the flesh and wings of the already struggling to ascend angel, reeling Venator back to the arena floor. But Venator, likely thankful the Pit Fiend did not summon an ice devil instead, would not be deterred by such an inferior creature. His courage and resolve were up to the task. Venator drew a single divine arrow, and with a deep, confident exhale, took steady aim. The Chain Devil charged, looking to close the gap, but the Archon of Justice launched a perfect shot, as if guided by Gavriel's very own watchful spirit. The holy missile striking true and instantly devouring the lesser devil in a prismatic shower of celestial end. Atraxamon, now struggling as his broken body would not respond to his own commands, and feeling as if victory was slipping from his grasp, made a final enraged charge, looking to land a mortal killing blow on the injured Solar while the angel's attention was still on his minion. Venator, using the calm confidence and experience of a millennia of battles, turned to eye the charging devil with just a hint of a smile on his face. The bloodied but not broken Celestial paused until Atraxamon was at the perfect range. Then, in a split second, the avenging angel teleported directly behind the plunging, full-throttled, and enraged Pit Fiend, and with a massive thrust ran Solastar, his mighty greatsword, through the spine of the Devil Champion, burying the celestial steel hilt deep in the Devil's back. The Pit Fiend's scream of agony filled the arena as the prismatic light of the heavens seared through him. With this final, decisive blow, Venator struck down Atraxamon, avenging the fallen Gavriel. Atraxamon's lifeless body dropped to the arena floor. He tried to rise, fueled by the infernal fires bestowed upon him in the pit of flames, standing briefly, then falling to his knees and slowly crumbled to ash amid his repulsive screams. The last remnants of his vile essence dissipating into equal particles of prismatic and infernal essence into the air, resting as a pile of ash. The arena fell silent, the echoes of battle fading away into the void of the Nexus Oblivion. The Council of Apterion, as animated and engaged as they had ever been, collecting themselves and withdrawing from the light, receding into the black stardust of shadows as ever before. As Venator stood victorious, his wounds mending with divine light, he felt the spirit of Gavriel beside him, knowing that the broken trophy that lies in the Nine Hells is but a mere abandoned vessel, knowing that now Gavriel's spirit is free. A moment of peace amidst the chaos, a fleeting connection to a celestial brother now avenged. With a final glance towards the heavens, and then with a nod to the silent council, a celestial portal opened for the avenged angel. Venator departed victorious, his duty fulfilled, and a celestial angel's memory honored. As the portal to the heavens closed, the council melds into the stardust as if they were but a mirage, leaving nothing but an empty arena, the copious bloodstains and the pile of ash, the only evidence that an epic battle took place. Let's take a look at the combat summary. In these 100 simulations, the Solar was victorious in 68 of those. The fights generally lasted about 8 rounds on average, during which time the Solar Celestial consistently dealt more damage per round than that of the Pit Fiend Devil. The Celestial's healing abilities, superior mobility, and the powerful divine abilities, I believe, contributed to its victory over the Fiend. All this in spite of Atraxamon's surprising and heretofore unknown icy abilities, no doubt granted him in service of the 5th layer of Hell. I'm betting Levistus is none too pleased with this outcome, possibly searing from within his icy prison in Stygia. And that, another death match in the books, but we can't be done because we're all tied up. One for the light, one for the dark. We can't leave this good versus evil battle with the series tied. So what two combatants should take the mantle and determine if good really does triumph over evil? I don't know, you tell me. I hope you had as much fun listening as I had creating and sharing today. Please consider following on Twitter at Riches and Liches, checking out our Patreon, Discord, YouTube channel memberships that are brand new for as little as $2 or a super thanks, the equivalent of buying that man a drink at the local tavern for a job well done. And if you feel like I earned it, maybe sub and ring that bell to help me grow this amazing community. And until next time, please remember, the only limitation at your table is your imagination.